Watch till
If you
end.
needed further proof that we live on the remains of a much larger past, and that geology is nothing more than hardened biology, let's take a look at where a trendy and popular ingredient you might have in your cabinet came from: Himalayan salt. You tell me what these caves look like. Let's take a look at some of that salt taken out of these mines and collected into a pile. Now, do those not look like slabs of meat or what? Here's a closer picture of one. How about now? If pork ribs aren't your cut of choice, don't worry. There's many other cuts to choose from here. In the right conditions, after a great flood-like event, buried and covered in sediment, these petrified beings became the new mountains and hillsides of this realm. If you aren't convinced, let's do a few more side-by-sides. You got rock and meat. One of my favorites, you got bacon, and you got bacon rock. History is nothing more than a set of lies agreed upon, and the same goes for most all of academia. The truth is in the hillsides and in the mountains, hidden in plain sight. Question everything, friends. Until next time.
Back in 1973, a Texas man named Jim Jackson found a dragon that was petrified, and it was underground, and it covered over 5 counties. Now the inside of this dragon stayed functional, and ultimately came the demise of this project in the time frame of a hiccup, and the subsequent explosion ended this classified file.
Dear Colton, now you know more than most how I may be prone to hyperbole on occasion, but those Whitmer boys that called on Monday are onto something amazing. I mean really truly amazing. This isn't any mineral deposit, Colton. At least not like anything I've seen. I went ahead and sent some samples for you and Chris to start looking at. I didn't think you all would believe me if I didn't. This thing that those old boys found is some kind of organic deposit that must go down at least 500 or 600 feet by my reckoning. Not a fungus either. This thing breathes and makes sounds same as any other creature, and it bleeds. God, how it bleeds. Colton, it's a mess out here. John and some of the others think it might be something from outer space. Most of the hombres we brought out to start the excavation call it Diablo Debajo, and are real weary of going too close to what we figure must be the mouth of this thing. Right now, I don't think I care what it is or where it came from. I'm an oil man, and I think we're on to something real big out here. Once you and Chris start looking at these samples, go ahead and give Lenny a call to send out his crew, and make sure they bring at least 4 excavators. Pay them whatever they ask to make it fast. Also, there's a card in here for a fella in Carlsbad with some pretty heavy-duty spelunking gear. Pay him whatever he wants to get here by Friday or Saturday. I'll call Beverly to have her put out other jobs on hold for the next 3 weeks, but you should remind her anyway. We need to move real fast on this. Dale Whitmer already left this morning to find someone in Gumption to come take some photos. It'll be a circus once that happens. God help us if the feds come out and lock it down. There's something about this thing that's important, and I don't want to see something this special get in the hands of some game warden. Regards, James Jackson of Jackson Surveying Incorporated. Now, Jackson was right as to say that this thing underground, whatever they walked into, was actually the mouth of it. Because, as we're going to see in a little bit, this thing has entire nervous systems, muscles, and stomach components, and it seems that this agape opening is in fact the mouth of this creature. Let me go ahead and read the second letter from Jackson as to make sense of this. Dear Colton, things are really starting to take off down here. At around 3 or so last night, we broke a new depth record of 1,800 feet vertical descent from the maw. It's a damn shame you and the other folks are so spooked by this pit. To be down there in it really is something else. Now don't misunderstand, I'm not saying it's easy. God almighty, is it tough getting around down in its gullet and such. A man's gotta have an iron constitution or a mighty thick skull, and lucky me, the good Lord has seen fit to bless me with both. Some of the boys here have rigged up scuba gear, and we've been able to squeeze around down there with some effort. Giant muscles, giant bones, innards so big you could drive a trailer truck through. Strange critters scuttling around in the dark down there too. Big bugs and germs and worms and other queer things that you wouldn't believe. Some kind of crab thing the size of coyote crept out a week and a half ago, and we caught it crawling around the feed trailer. I got a good look at it before one of Dale's boys shot at it, and it skittered away. We had the funeral for the third roustabout to pass away this month on Tuesday. The papers are already talking gossip more than I like, and I'm hopeful that Bill and the other attorneys can keep the vultures and the feds at bay. People don't understand until they've seen it and been down inside it, Colton. We're pioneers and explorers here. This is good work. This is God's work. Nobody knows what this mystery pit is or what it eats, or how long it's been here. We need some guys with real smarts, not oilmen. Doctors, scientists, and good decent folk who would have nothing to do with us. I'm mighty glad that you've taken responsibility for holding down the fort back home while I'm out here playing the cowboy. You're a good man, Colton, the kind of quality individual they don't make anymore. Maybe I'm hoping I can find some of that goodness myself someday. Maybe down in the belly of this beast. Give Samantha and the baby my regards. Jim Jackson. P.S. There's a company out of Fort Worth that I've called up to help with the exploration. I attached their card to this letter. Give their geologist a call and let them know the details. I'm told they're very good at what they do. And attached we see a business card for the Anodyne Deep Earth Mining Company. Here we see this dragon mentioned in Native American folklore is the thing that got knocked out and buried underground. Because if you remember, this thing was completely underground until the oil man Jim Jackson found it in 1973. If this creature was knocked into a deep slumber, then we better hope it never wakes up. Which it definitely did, and that would be the situation that led to the shutdown of the park in the 2007 catastrophe.
The west coast of North America is a 7,200-kilometer-long petrified dragon. And I've got the receipts. That's the head of the dragon, which is basically California. The open mouth is Silicon Valley. And as we go up the coast, we get the eye socket, the neck, to the wings of this petrified behemoth. Up through what is Alaska and the Aleutian Islands that make out the dragon's tail, which has a very, very telltale sign of a hook in its tail. And probably one of the most fascinating features of this video, when I was doing the research, I came across a woman who lived in the Yukon, in a place they call Stink Creek. The reason for this is, come to find out, it is the dragon's butthole. And when this dragon died, it expelled all the waste that was inside its bowels onto the land to make a fertile, very plush, lush green valley. I can't make this shit up, excuse the pun. This is your dragon of the West Coast. Petrified, still with us.
Anybody see a dragon head? See my dragon head? Ladies and gentlemen, it's your older homie, Mr. Black. It's your older homie, Mr. Black, letting you know that I will be on vacation. I will be on vacation till February 18th. I will be at the Superstition Mountains. See the teeth? See the teeth right there? See all the teeth? See the eye? See his nose? See the scales up here? I will be on vacation till February 18th. I will be in the Superstition Mountains. I will be filming the South Mountain Guy Season 3. But I promise you, February 19th, I will upload a video of this dragon right here. And we will look at the body, and you will see the teeth, and we will go inside the dragon. We will go inside the dragon on February 19th. February 19th, we're going inside the dragon. It's your older homie, Mr. Black. I'm on vacation. South Mountain Guy Season 3. I'm on Superstition Mountain. I'll be there tomorrow. Skinwalker hunt. We'll be hunting skinwalkers. Go with Jesus. Stay with Christ. It's your older homie, Mr. Black. And remember, you heard it here second. Peace.
You guys, oh my god, watch this.
So I brought my geologist out here to confirm that my findings were actually Nephilim bones, giant bones, and he did confirm that what I found out here was Nephilim, and it was pretty much prehistoric or petrified, however you want to call it. But check out what we found. We found what looks like a finger. Check this out, people. Check this out. We got one finger right there. What my geologist is saying is there's a whole hand buried underneath here. Here's part of the finger, here's part of the hand, and then we're gonna go down and show you another finger. But what my geologist is saying is this is a giant buried hand, a Nephilim hand, and this is a finger with a fingernail. Now, or could it be a dragon? Is this a dragon, people, or is this something more prehistoric? Check out the finger. Check out the fingernail. From nail to finger. Here we go, people. Let's get a little closer.
Take a few seconds, won't you? And grateful to be alive for the revealing of our history. Dragons everywhere. Literally a dragon boneyard.
You don't go like
Okay, everybody's talking about this dragon that they found on Google Earth. Look at this thing. But nobody yet is talking about the other dragon that I found, or some people are calling it the Leviathan. Here you can also see its forked tongue protruding from its mouth. Here is the other dragon. I think this one might be a smaller juvenile, possibly female one. Look at this thing, dude. Here I added a screenshot that I took, and here is one with everything highlighted so you can see it. Bro, you can clearly see the forked tongue coming from this Leviathan's mouth. It's some type of sea serpent or dragon or something. You can see the scale pattern on it. Here's me going back to Google Earth so you can see where it's at. There is the smaller Leviathan. Sea dragon, sea serpent, whatever you want to call it. Bro, this is wild. I haven't seen anyone talking about this one yet. Only the other one. Look at that, dude. Bro.
So everything you thought you knew about mountains is about to change.
The trees are fibers, and for some reason this shows the true color. A big chunk of this just fell off. See part of the grain. This is the way the fibers are right here. See? Hold on a second. And you see it's nothing but wood. Okay, so we're gonna go down over here and I'll show you a little more. Okay, see here, and at an angle. Okay, all this, everything, this whole mountain in a 100-mile radius, come right over here. You see, this looks just like freshly chopped wood. We peeled a piece off of there. This is what we see. This is the wood. See that? That's just got the moss on it. And all this here, all the way back up in here, I'll show you that in a second. You come right here and you see, we'll peel a piece off here. It's just wood. It's so crazy. All this. And then you go right over here. See, this is the fresh stuff. This is what we see. Rocks and grew. Go over here. It's part of the source tree. Where's Ken?
I'm right here.
Where at? Oh, so that's one guy, and this is Ken. A couple guys that, my subscribers that came over from Minnesota. And they're spending a few days here with me. But all this, as far back as the eye can see, is the same thing that's here. All of it. All of it. And then you'll have massive pockets of sap. And then you have, this is part of the bark, this is wood. All the mica is wood. I'll do a video on that. Let me see here. Oh, I can't get to that. That's Deontay. But they traveled all the way from Minnesota here to see it. So what do you think of it, man?
Crazy.
It's crazy?
Outstanding.
Outstanding, yeah. There's the source tree. Really quick. Yeah, these guys are really cool guys, man. They are so glad they came. They are just floored. Okay, just want to show you. And when I do the video on the quartz, the quartz, the mica, and the gold, it's gonna be my final chapter. It's gonna be a long one, and it's gonna blow your mind. You see this? It's incredible. Wood is like fibers. See here. All this. Everything I've shown in every one of my videos. The mountains. And it's not just here. It's worldwide. You see, this don't have the moss on it. All right, we're gonna end it there. I just wanted to show you that. It's pretty incredible. Everything I showed you generally looks like this or like this. But once you break it apart, you see the wood. All of it.
Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and follow at Mike Priest ARR for more content like this.
All right, I'm here at a national park that is home of one of my favorite big guys. This giant head of an ape, the eye sockets, nose. I found him about 5 or 6 years ago, and I come visit him a lot. But he's here in this another area that has what I call ruins of buildings and living giants at one time, and structures that have been, I think, kind of melted. I think there was some sort of melting going on as well. But this is my big ape, King Kong. They get those ideas for those movies because that's all true, and that's why it resonates with us so much, because we know deep down in our DNA that that's the truth. So they'll put those kinds of things in movies, knowing that that's going to resonate with us and get our energy from it. That's why so many things are named after giants. Stores, cars, sports teams, etc. It's always in plain sight. I love this guy. And you can really tell when you start to get close how much of a scaly creature this was, with the spine up here. This huge dragon. That's what I believe it to be. One of my favorites here. That's definitely flesh. And to me, this is the remains of the petrified dragon. Get a little better close up of this part. Looking back at it, it's really cool. So I like coming here to visit my big ape friend and my dragon friend. Really cool.
The fact that this was discovered hiding under a painting during a renovation of a cathedral in Naples says it all. Another sloppy cover-up of our true past at work. I think they tried to cover up giants and dragons, griffins, and a lot of other creatures. Yet they did such a sloppy job, they just ended up calling them mythical creatures. But isn't it odd, the Chinese zodiac has all real creatures but one. And the fact that so many of our cultures, all across our realm, share the same depictions of dragons, much like they do giants and many other creatures. These artists drew exactly what they saw. And you can still find some mud fossil remains. Like here's the Dragon Head cave in Egypt. This world is vastly different than what we've been told it was. And why cover up dragons? It's the same reason why they lied to us about all of our history. Those unaware of their true past and their true origins are all that much easier to control. Perhaps dragons explain some of those melted castles. And just look what our old dictionary said about dragons. Now rare. And even a news story from England. This was just a few short generations ago. As they say, it only takes a few generations to completely erase our knowledge of our true history. And sloppy as it may be, they have succeeded in doing that. Question everything, friends. Until next time.
This is the top of the eye, I believe, and it obviously comes running over this way and over this way. We saw all of the different layering of the lens or the cornea or whatever it was, and you can see there's an extreme difference between the types of tissue as you go deeper and deeper and deeper. Now, let's look at a little lower here, down where they are. Now, I want you to pay close attention to this, because you can, and I do too. I could jump over things. Wow, look at that, and I go along. Well, if you take your time, you see things that are quite interesting. You see the texture and the curvature of the tissue here, and then you see this. There's no reason for that to be exactly blocky like that, except that it is part of the blockiness, first of all, of anatomy, but secondly, it is, I believe, one of the muscles that twisted that eye up and down or this way or that way. Now, secondly or thirdly or sixthly or whatever it is, look at this right here. You see that? You see that? You look at this and you think, wow, they're really thin little layers, because there's a bazillion of them. But look at this. They get to be almost paper thin. There's one right after the other. And I find this in my, hold on, I'm going to get some. Hold on. Okay, I got the microscope fired up. I got a ton of dragon samples right here, and I will show you, and you will not. Well, here's one right here. There's a dragon scale. That's a scale from a dragon. That locked it in right there, and that right up in here is the blood supply, and we're going to be looking at that in the microscope. You'll see it. And I have a ton of different ones, and I'm going to show you how many layers. When you see how many layers of tissue is in these, I believe that's another dragonish thing. Here's another one that we're going to be looking at in the microscope. You see how many layers there? You can't even believe. And that is biological. That's not just a bunch of sediment laying there. That's a biological sample. And this is a feather. Well, I'll show you. I have people all over the world now contributing to Mud Fossil University. See that? That's the feather. It's just like a turkey feather. And here it is right here. I think that's exactly where he broke it off of, or right in that area somewhere. I don't know, I can't really match it up, but that's what it is. That's the same damn thing. And that's a pretty thick feather. You know what I mean? They don't make them that way now. Now I also have, as you saw, the dragon scales. I don't know, that's a different type of dragon. It doesn't have a feather. And we're going to be looking at them in the microscope. You see the actual blood where it infused in. Everything had to be serviced with blood. This is, again, so dense with layering. And then when you see the red and the black and the so forth, that means there's blood there. That was blood. And I have all kinds of things. And here's a different, that's just a bone. And this is a different type of scale. I don't know what that was on. But that's the tab that held that in. See that hook right there? So it hooked into something. And then it has that flute laid on another channel. And another one hooked in and hooked in. The same thing that this did. But only upside down. I don't know. There are a lot of different dragonish looking things on the ground. This is, and when I show you the microscope, you're going to see all of that layering. That's what gave the dragons their toughness. I don't know if you can see that. Well, you will in the microscope, but you can see, and that's what they see all around the Earth. And they say, "Ooh, that's all sedimentation." No, it is not. Absolutely not. And I got so many things to go over. Yikes! That's all I can say. Okay, these are the things that move through your heart in little chunks, and they attach to other molecules using what's called a ligand. It's just a little snipper. Grabs a hold of it, brings it where it goes, and it says, you give me 2, I'll give you 2. Boop, done, case closed. And here's what they look like. Hold on one second. What is it going to look for? All right, that's an opal eye, and it just happens to be that it was in the conditions that the aqueous transition metals attached, and you know, there has to be an exact chemistry to make these things happen. But at least you could see the strap in the eyeball. Now, this is a heart, and this was the upper part of the heart, and it was laying down like this. So this was low. That's why the transition metals, which are heavier, settled here more than up above, which is the red platelets just sort of lifted them, not lifted up, but they're floated to the surface because these are heavier. Now, you see all these different colors. This was in a condition, I believe this was from the Yoa region in Australia. Fabulous, fabulous opals. Now, what that means is there was some chemistry here which created the right pH, the right transition metals were right in this area, and they just invaded exactly the tissues that wanted them. That's why they're exact different colors in the exact different areas where tissue layers are. You see how this is all brown, so forth? This makes this color layer here. This is all this blue, and all the heartstrings running in are the same color. They have the same chemistry. They do the same job. They have different structural integrity. They have different responses. They have different molecules inside of them. And what it's doing here is going, taking this blood, pushing it through the heart, the lungs, the kidneys, and all that stuff, and moving it through your body. Bad's one inside, good goes out the other side.
This world is not what you've been told it was. And it's certainly not just the depictions of faces found time and time again in the rocks. Our realm was much larger, and the evidence that geology is nothing more than hardened biology can be found everywhere. And those with open eyes and open minds see it all too well. Makes you wonder about that pink Himalayan salt. We are standing literally on the remains of this much larger post-apocalyptic realm of ours. I recommend everyone check out Mud Fossil University on YouTube. Covered up and buried in an instant, in some cataclysmic reset of our realm. And what we get is the final moments of these titans, frozen in time like a photograph. Question everything, friends. Until next time.
Y'all seen these right here yet? Looks like a dragon maybe embedded in the rock, maybe something petrified. Anyways, there's a lot, there's a lot of big stuff. Just watch the video and follow this guy.
Are these petrified giants?
forming, and they accidentally fell into a digestive sac. About 2 hours later, rescuers got to them, but at that point they had morphed into a giant wad of people flesh that were still alive. And the rescuers heard them screaming and moaning, and they sprayed antacid spray that was experimental on them, which flash froze, leaving a horrifying reminder of what could happen to anyone who visits the park. To continue to explore the giant creature and to mine its minerals, the miners use giant boring machines that cut and burn the flesh to calcify and cauterize the cuts, and often they have to get out and walk on foot and put up stents and crawl through the flesh. It's really tight. All these guys that work the mining jobs have to wear these giant spacesuit-like things to protect themselves from the hazardous environments, and even carry cool weapons such as the anatomical environment multi-tool, which is a tool that shoots spikes into the walls to hold up the flesh whenever they're going through tunnels. But they figured out it was really good at killing the giant man-eating lobster things that try to eat the workers. And obviously the company Anodyne is mining to get materials to use in their various products that they have, such as nerve fibers that they get in the cave walls that they use to power their supercomputers and make their processing really good, and even special ingredients in their amazing drink, Coke Heartthrob, which is a drink they released on Valentine's Day that's an aphrodisiac, and it's known for its very intoxicating effects. Inside of the flesh pit, there's also a lower visitor center with a giant shopping mall, restaurants, vendors, and it takes about 20 minutes to get down inside of through the elevator. This lower visitor center is huge. It's about 8 stories tall. Overlooking the greater gastric sea, there's a wellness resort and ski lodge that's built inside of the stomach that overlooks all the beautiful stomach juices. The resort has tons of fun activities such as a dance club, a beauty shop, an arcade, a petting zoo, I guess for the small bacteria creatures, and it even said there's an outfitter, I guess for hunting the giant monsters inside of the living creature. The only known history concerning this giant organism comes from Native American folklore, where they talk about a great dragon that brought great devastation to the land, disease, hunger, hatred, and greed for the people. But the people pleaded to the Great Spirit, and they did some sort of ritual to subdue the dragon and put it into a great slumber and bury it. And they said the earth still shakes to this day because of it. So since this giant creature is asleep, you would probably think, wow, I really hope it doesn't wake up. Well, the 2007 catastrophe. The 2007 catastrophe leads to the permanent shutdown of the park. On July 4th, 2007, 750 people died and 1,800 major injuries happened, basically because the creature coughed. To summarize what happens, basically it was July the 4th, everybody was there, and it was super rainy.